Hi, this is Dietra Kelsey, host of Sistah Talk, televised live Saturdays at 2 p.m. on MNN1. On Sistah Talk, we feature beautiful, intelligent sisters and brothers too, from the world of entertainment, politics, music, health and wellness, and so much more. Watch Sistah Talk, televised live Saturdays at 2 p.m. on MNN1. Sistah Talk, we're more than just talk.
Sistah Talk. Sistah Talk.
Today's show's topic is women entrepreneurs, women in business. And my guest today is TANESHIA NASH LAIRD. She's the regional director of the Women's Chamber of Commerce. She's an entrepreneur. She's a co-owner of Mist Culture Center located in the village of Harlem. Also, she's president and CEO of Legacy Business Advisors. Welcome, TANESHIA. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
TANESHIA, when I was, studying you, your bio and all that, I say that you've come a long way in such a short life. Who are you? Who are you? And why do you do the things that you do?
I'm an entrepreneur and a mom. Why do I do the things that I do? Right now, I'm living my passion, pursuing the things that interest me most, which are economic growth and development for women and communities of color.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm focused on as an entrepreneur.
Why did you decide to do that? What made you the turning point that said, look, this is what I have to do for women of color to become more involved in business and being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think the turning point was actually being widowed 3 years ago. I suddenly lost my husband. He wasn't, obviously sick. He died 4 days after taking him to the hospital. And it was that moment where whenever you have sort of this life transformative moment, you kind of evaluate what it is that you want to do. And I had worked in economic development professionally. I was an appointed official in Trenton, New Jersey. I grew up here in New York. I've always been passionate about my community, my people, and I decided that I wanted to make my individual passion my profession, and that is focusing on women and people that look like me.
So, were you raised as an entrepreneur, or a business sense? Did they instill that in
I guess.
you?
I mean, my mom. I was raised by a single mom. She told me I could do whatever I wanted to do. I probably was as a kid coming up with all kinds of business ideas, and she would say, "That's nice, honey," and she wouldn't discourage me in any way. But she wasn't an entrepreneur. She was a woman who worked with children. She worked with children for 35 years at the Lois Bronze Community Center, Children's Center, and it's just something that I was always into. When I went to college at Baruch College. My major was marketing.
Wow.
And I created my own independent studies minor of Black economics because, again, I was always concerned about sort of the health from a financial standpoint of our people. So yeah, I mean, I've always been interested in it.
Hey, remember, you can always call the show and ask TANESHIA about advice about entrepreneurship, business at 212-757-1393. That's 212-757-1393. Well, tell me about the women that you have empowered so far.
Well, it's really interesting. I wasn't expecting that question, but I was just thinking about that actually
Really?
recently.
Wow.
Yes,
You're very intuitive.
well, only because someone that used to work for me recently reached out to me, and we had a dialogue via Facebook, which is great. Social media lets you get in touch with people that you may have lost touch with. But I remember when I hired her, I was really excited about bringing her on board. Now, at this time, I was the executive director of a not-for-profit. It's funny, the young lady who did my daughter's hair told me about her friend who had graduated from college. She majored in, I believe, urban studies, but she wasn't working in her profession. And I said, well, I can use an assistant. And unintentionally, or maybe intentionally, she was sort of the first person that I felt like if I'm in a position of power, that I should pay it forward and I should give other people opportunities.
Oh,
So
really?
I threw her into a lot of stuff. Her, another young lady that I hired at that same job, all of them I say the same thing. I said, this is not going to be your last stop. So what is it that you want to do with your life? You know, you have a whole life ahead of you. And let's think about that as we think about the things that you do here to fulfilling the requirements of this job. Let's think about other things that we can engage you in and involve you in so that it puts you on the path that you want to go on. And so I'm so proud of all of them. The young lady, all of them. The young lady that reached out to me the other day, it just so happens that she has a new, I was able to give a great reference for her. Even though she hasn't worked for me for some time, but she's working on a Black Male Initiative in Philadelphia. So I'm really proud of all of them. They've pursued their individual paths. So I guess it's just something that I do. I don't have as much time to do it as I used to. So I'm trying to figure out another mechanism, a vehicle, because I get contacted all the time. Can you mentor me? And I want to.
Yeah, you know something, because you have two wonderful children I just met, and I will be interviewing them after the show, and I can't wait. I can't wait.
Between 1997 and 2015, women-owned businesses increased by 75%. That's 1.5 the national average. Additionally, businesses owned by African American women increased by 300%. That means that Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the United States. More, there are 9.9 women-owned businesses here in the United States, employing 9 million people. Again, 9.9 million women-owned businesses employing 9 million people. Bringing it to New Jersey, there are 254,000 women-owned businesses here in the state of New Jersey, employing 260,000 people, with revenues of $60 billion and payroll of $10 billion. That $10 billion in those jobs represent not only the economic stability of the individual, but also their vitality of their families and also the communities in which they live. And so this is the basis upon which my presentation was going. It was a lot of facts and data because, you know, I'm sort of the school of thought that that is what was needed to buttress my presentation and my argument. And so I had a friend that I did my original talk for last night. And at about 6:15 this morning, he text messaged me, WYD, what are you doing? I said, well, you know, I'm thinking about it. I got to memorize these facts, you know, so that I can present it and so I can present this argument. And he said, well, yeah, about that. And I really think that you should tell people who you are, what you do, and why it's important. So, original talk out the window. I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to tell you all that. And why I'm a woman-owned entrepreneur, why I'm a woman entrepreneur, and why I believe in bolstering women, and why I'm here.
Caller, you watching Sistah Talk TV show. This is Dietra and Tanisha. Where you calling from? Hi. Hello?
This is Dietra. It's Brother Mark from Harlem.
Hey, Brother Mark. Hi. How you doing?
Oh man, such a fabulous show. Such a beautiful sister.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, I'm just so impressed with your body of work, sister. Is what you're doing is incredible, but not that it's not doable. The question I have is, when it comes to the starting point of one stepping into a business endeavor, would you say, Sister Laird, that would you need to be astute in proposal writing? Is that critical at this time?
That's great.
Or is just like how you've amassed all these significant people around you, I see over a duration of time, get your heavyweights together. But I'm back to the question again. I'm sorry to drag it on. Is proposal writing critical? And I'll listen.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
That's
good question.
That's
yes.
an excellent
Good question.
question.
Yes.
I think verbal, the old thing, right, that they say when you get a job, verbal and written communication, it's probably even more important as an entrepreneur than it is, I would say, well, I shouldn't say that in a job, but I would say it's paramount to be able to effectively articulate to a prospective investor, a prospective customer, what it is that you have to offer. I absolutely think knowing how to pitch it, whether it's pitching again verbally or through a written proposal. And people hear the word proposal and they get very intimidated. But my mother-in-law, who I idolize, I think she's fabulous. She was a high school teacher, a principal and administrator in Washington Heights.
Right.
She taught me, I'll never forget this, how to write a proposal. She hand wrote
really?
the
Wow.
outline of a proposal. And I'll never forget it. She did it over 20 years ago, and it's pretty much the same outline that I use when I'm proposing anything. So I absolutely think knowing how to effectively pitch what it is that you're offering is crucial. Absolutely. Plug. Or you know, he's from Hollis, so of course he loved all the Hollis MCs, to Run DMC, to LL Cool J. Like, it's just to have somebody. But he also went to an Ivy League college, which when some people would find out, particularly when we moved to an urban community, the kids couldn't believe. He's so cool. He went to an Ivy. Yes, you could go to college and still be cool.
We were covering, ZAKKEE and I were covering some years, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Sister Talk, not Sister Talk, Real Sisters Film Festival.
Yes.
And he was sitting in the audience, and they had a panel discussion. And somebody said, he asked a question. They said, well, come on up, brother.
Roland, you say?
Yeah, Roland.
Okay.
Come on. Now, Roland didn't ask a question, but one of the panelists asked a question. And Roland said something, and I guess they knew each other. And the panelist said, well, come on up. And he just jumped over these chairs.
That sounds like him.
He jumped over
I don't know
the
the story, but that sounds like
We
him.
talked about that this morning. He jumped over the chairs like, oh, okay, you know, I forgot. But we were like, yeah, that's how we look.
That sounds like
he
him.
seemed like he was a lot of fun.
He was
creative,
creative, a joker all the time, always had jokes, was into sports a lot, but again, about us. When I say about us as a people. So, you know, conversations that you would have with him wouldn't just be about sports in general, but be about the black athlete and black quarterbacks and what black colleges once upon a time really meant for the black athlete. And so those are the sort of conversations that you would have, or one could have with him.
Paula, you watch the Sistah Talk TV show?
Hi, Tanisha. You may have answered this question already. How long ago did your husband die, and have you remarried? I'm only asking because, you know, like how Dr. King's wife, she, stayed unmarried forever, whereas Medgar Evers' wife remarried, and it's just something to, it's not nothing to be ashamed about. If your husband passes, you or any other woman, we're still alive, and we have to move on. So I just wanted to know the answer to that question.
Such a great question.
Thank you.
It was 3 years ago. He passed away February 7th, February 8th, 2013. But the reason I say it's such a great question, someone actually said that to me. Are you going to be a Mrs. King or Mrs. Evers?
Oh,
like,
really?
Do you
Wow.
plan to stay unmarried, or do you plan to remarry? And I had said for the longest time that, the longest time, for that year, because I didn't date for over a year, and I felt guilty when I did finally go out on one.
Really? Wow, really?
But no, I have not remarried, to answer your caller's question. But it's something that I'm actually open to a relationship, which is new, So it's great question.
You wrote an article called "The Morning After," or someone
they wrote it
for you. Could you go into detail that article? I mean, the morning after, the MOURNING.
Right.
The morning after. How did you put up that face? Because you still had to work. You still had to take care of your family as a single person now.
Right.
How did you do that? Because your job is confronting people, talking to people.
Right. Well,
and
actually, I
motivating.
stopped working, so that's the key. At the time I was working at MIST, and I just stopped. Fortunately, I wasn't critical. I mean, I had many other employees there, but it was one of those things where I realized that it was a point where I realized that I had to do something to get out of the state that I was in. And when I say state of despair, I was in that condition. You know, I had 2 children that I had to be an example for. And that particular article focuses on the fact that I found a resource that I could go to, and there's an organization called Good Grief that provides for free, thanks to their donors at their nonprofit, resources for kids who have lost someone close to them. So not just their father, it could be their brother, it could be their parent, it could be someone, a family member. But that group also has a group for the parents.
Oh, well,
So the kids get what they need, but the parents also get what they need. And I think based on the group that I'm in, they grouped me with other people who lost spouses. And so that was a resource for me.
So how long was I would say the depression, the mourning? I think depression is really
well, it's a
strong.
form of depression.
Right.
You know, I think I probably didn't really fully emerge from it until August, but we did things before that. So we were pulled out to things. So we did road trips. So my kids and I, we went to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And it was after I met James Worthy, and so we were doing something business-wise with him there. And of course, the girls love him because he's so tall. We went to Martha's Vineyard,
really?
right,
Wow.
for my now big girl's birthday. Jeffrey Osborne, who's a good friend of James Worthy and Magic Johnson, had a golf tournament in Newport, Rhode Island, so they invited us up there.
Wow.
So I had a lot of people who kind of helped pull me out, whether they realized that they were doing it. I think were just being nice. But it was one of those things where I also grieved very publicly. Like, when I say publicly, I mean social media. I wouldn't answer anybody's phone call, but I would go on Facebook and post how I was feeling that particular day, because it was a way to kind of pour myself out to people. And you know, I'm sure I made some people uncomfortable.
Not quite,
But for the most part, I had this incredible amount of support that. You know, I'm planning a big birthday party on March 11th, and I'm invited at Miss. You got to come.
Oh, yes.
And I told all these people, a lot of them I've never met. So I was like, we need to come because I need to meet you because you were part of my recovery, my
that's
village.
Great. That's great.
But yeah, I mean, it was. So to answer your question, it was probably, again, from February to August. So that's probably about 6 months that I was really.
212-757-1393, 212-757-1393. If Tanesha could do it, you can do it. Call in, ask questions, or make a comment. Dietra Kelsey or Tanesha Nash Laird. How are you, keeping the memory of your husband life alive?
For my kids or for people
In general, for, you know, that's a good question. For your kids, for
my
your
kids.
children. Yeah.
So for our children, it's very easy. I mean, because of the age that we live in, there is social media, so they can see all the pictures of him in social media. Because when the second edition of Still I Rise came out, there was a press junket, so there's video of him on YouTube that we put up, but that other people put up. So, you know, the great thing about this age that we live in, and this is not just for celebrities, for anybody, you can do that because there are things out there that you can do to show. So pictures, video, and then their own memories. I mean, we're driving here, and my little one remembered her father took her to a rehearsal at the Dance Theater of Harlem.
Wow.
And she said, Daddy took me to see the ballerinas rehearse.
And that's good because when I was coming up, you just didn't talk like that. You just you just held it in.
Yeah.
You know. Caller, you watch a Sistah Talk TV show. Who's this?
Yes, hi. I called earlier. This is Alicia Jane Soda.
Okay, sure.
Deidre, I just want to thank you again for having her as a guest, and I'm glad you asked the question, how was she dealing, coping with the loss of her husband, and this brings me to the next point of why I'm calling is because I'm looking to have a forum discussion for women of color regarding mental health and wellness. And I would really like for her to be a part of that conversation because, you know, for people of color, we don't talk about it. And to hear her say that she shared publicly on social media, I applaud her because we do need to start talking about what we're feeling, what we're shielding, the mask that we wear, putting on the facade. And so I'm just putting out there publicly that I would love for you to be a part of that conversation that we as women of color desperately need to have.
Yeah, and Alicia has been on the show before,
great.
with her PAM project about postpartum depression and depression period and so forth. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you so much for calling. And yeah, like I said, that we pretty much hold it in. I commend you for just, letting it out and talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is what I believe. I know the sort of old school way is if that person is no longer here, we don't talk about it. We may have a picture on the mantle, but that's pretty much it.
Now you still have the pictures around the house and all that? Yeah.
Right. We have pictures. We talk about Roland. If the girls bring him up, I don't shush them. I mean, that's their memories. Those are the things that they treasure. What my big fear when this was new 3 years ago was that they wouldn't remember things. So
really,
because especially Naima, because she was so young, she was 2, but
but she remembers.
She remembers. I mean, he was the last person to take her at that time to take her for her checkup to the pediatrician. So the next time I took her to the pediatrician, Daddy took me here. So she remembers all of these things, and now that she's older, she can actually articulate better some of the things that she remembers. So I want her to hold on to that.
Okay,
and
thank you so much. This has been an enlightening conversation. The only words that come to me is I am. You was yesterday, but you are I am today. I am what I am, and I am who I am. Thank you for this lively conversation. I want you to introduce yourself loud and strong, starting with you.
My name's Naima.
Naima, that's a pretty name, Naima. What about yourself?
My name's Imani.
Imani, okay. So, what do you all do for a living?
I go to school.
You go to school. How about yourself?
I jump around.
You jump around, okay. So, do you give your mother a lot of happiness? You motivate her, inspire her?
Yeah.
Yeah. No? Why would you say that?
Because when during the video time, Naima was doing this to her mom.
Oh, well, it was out of love, right, Naomi? Naimi?
I heard that thumbs down means thumbs up.
Oh, so that's what you do. That's a good way to handle that. That's a good way. So, what do you do for your entertainment?
Watch TV.
Watch TV.
Play on the phone.
Play on the phone.
Play Shopkins.
Yeah.
Which she forces me to do.
Okay. What's your extracurricular activities?
Violin. Making projects.
Making projects. Oh, okay. So who take you to your extracurricular activities?
Oh, I have it during school. School time.
I do it during school and at home.
Oh, okay.
Yell it out.
I do it at school and home.
You do it at school and home. So what do you want to be when you grow up? Hello?
Oh.
Both of you. Yeah.
Oh, I want to be a writer.
A writer. What type of writing do you do?
Every single time.
Every single thing you like to write. Do you like to write poetry?
Sometimes.
Do you have a poem that you can recite? Any poem.
I'm trying to think. Let's talk about Naima for a second.
Okay.
I want to be a rapper and a dancer.
Oh, a rapper and a dancer.
This is news to me.
Can you give us a rhyme or something?
I went to school made of brick. It was really strong and knocked down by a big bad wolf. Word.
It's new to you, Tanisha?
Yes, it is.
Oh, a rapper and a dancer. Did you think that she wanted to be that?
I didn't know about the rap, but you know, it's funny. They take my phone and their Chromebook, and they actually do make videos.
Oh, really?
And I put one on Facebook. It was pretty good. I mean, it was like a rhyme off the top of your head, right?
Yeah, and we use Shopkins.
We did improv.
Improv.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was much better than this rhyme, I have to tell you.
So do you all improv a lot around the house?
I guess so. Oh, I'm taking drama class.
Get out of here. No.
I'm down person number 1.
So Tanisha, does she act in front of you?
This one wants to be a performer, Naima. She really enjoys ballet, so I guess Misty Copeland and all
wow.
that. But she's very athletic. This one has told me that she no longer wants to take ballet or
dance or like gymnastics.
None of those things, and you're going to focus on your violin and piano. Okay.
Wow.
She's gonna take piano. She's gonna take piano lessons too. That's Mozart, I think.
Sometimes they come and they surprise me with their observations about around the world, because I want to shield them from all of the, I guess all of the nastiness of the world. And one day Imani at 8, I think, came to me and she said, "Mommy, you know, I think even though the civil rights we fought for civil rights in the 60s, we're still fighting for our freedom."
Wow.
I did?
Yes, you did. And so for a child like that to make it from her own observation, from the things that happened in Ferguson, that happened with Mike Brown, I mean, you know.
Who's Mike Brown?
Mike Brown is the in Ferguson. That was the one who was,
okay.
yes. And Eric Garner here in the city. I mean, I don't have the news on, but somehow they still somehow become aware. So you have to have those conversations about it, what it means. But then I also have conversations when they act up. I said, you know, you have way more than other kids. So, you know, I'm turning to my own mother, because my mother would tell me I used to have to walk in 2 miles in the snow. So I told them, you know what? We only had 2 TVs in my house. So, you know.
We have 3.
Yes. So,
And you have your own TV too.
they do. So,
4.
yes.
No, 5.
Where's the
4.
5th one?
The 5th one's like the small one.
Oh, okay. See what I'm saying? So you know, just for them to understand what their privilege is. But I, you know.
I lost a tooth.
Yes, you did lose a tooth. But when I took them to St. Louis last year, I went on business. It was a good time to talk to them about the importance of the anniversary, because it was coincidence that we were there at the anniversary of the uprisings and Mike Brown's death in Ferguson. So those are the types of things I think about, and being about a woman as they're coming into their understanding of being female. So all of those things are things that I feel an incredible responsibility, and I'm always very paranoid about whether or not I'm doing the right thing as a mother.
Thank you for sharing your experience with us and telling us about our child memory, because I do love your kids. I love their spirit, their assertiveness, and they're so happy.
Yes,
You're
they
so
are
close.
happy children.
Hey, you just finished watching Sistah Talk TV show after live telecast. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, stay in the light.
Going through, don't worry, I ain't going nowhere. If you ever feel alone, say the word, I'll be right there. Sistah Talk, sister, 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 Sistah Talk, sister, 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 Sistah Talk, sister, 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 Sistah Talk, sister, sister, sister. Ooh, Sistah Talk.